What's up everybody, I'm System Tech 66 and we're going to get into this Resident Evil Requiem gameplay. So there's not a lot, I watched it last night, but what there is we'll go through. Concept. Koshi Nakanishi, my bad. We've seen this. Not sure where that is. So this is the hotel, or it's a hospital. A lot of us thought the hotel. I mean, this is cool. This is first-person gameplay. A lot of us thought the hotel would be sort of this run-down, like hotel. I really liked Resident Evil 7. Village I wasn't too keen on. So character. So Grace is our main protag. Loving the look, like the jacket and everything, the jeans. Yeah, see now I understand this. Yeah, so that's new. Now I love this bit because we get to see the foyer of what we think is the Renwood Hotel. Now this is important. See, now I agree with him on that. Leon is OP compared to what he was like during the Raccoon City outbreak. Yeah, he is quite bad for horror because he's a badass. Like, he'd just be taking things out like really easily. But I also think that maybe he will make an appearance, maybe for 20% of the game. Graphics look amazing. Yeah, the facial expressions and stuff are like really, really good. Maybe the best they've ever been. This is what I like. They've made her, I said this in my previous video, they've made her capable, but she hasn't really been in the field, like, or at least out in the field. I love the lighting and stuff, very PT. You can tell that the director's a fan of PT. There's a third-person gameplay, it looks great. It does feel Resident Evil, definitely. The lighting, especially. The way everything looks. But the hotel, we all thought was going to be like this run-down hotel, and it's not. It's actually like a typical kind of, you know, umbrella-style owned hotel.
その当時アンブレラ事件っていうのでシリーズがヒットして、それ以降も様々なキャラクターたちが、いろんなラクーンシティで起きた事件をきっかけに立ち向かっていくようになったり、人間成長したり、そこに今回この表現のメスを入れるっていうのが作り手としてはやっぱりかなり緊張感を持って臨ませてもらったっていう。
It is a big task.
ラクーン事件に関わった、もしくはラクーン事件に巻き込まれて。
Plus the characters from Outbreak, which are now considered canon. Yeah, sweet. That's cool, man. Yeah, and it's a milestone of the series, which I love. And we haven't got long to wait. February 27th, 2026. Can't come sooner. I hope this is good. It seems like it's going to be good. Nice. So I mean that's all we get, but here we go.
Further interviews with
Yeah.
the creators that didn't fit into today's presentation will be released today.
So if you guys are part of the Resident Evil portal, I'd suggest going over there. I'll try and get in there at some point and, you know, see the rest of the footage and the gameplay and stuff. Yeah, unreleased footage available now on the portal. So incredible. Let's unpack. I think that making Grace the main character, maybe getting to play as Alyssa here and there, great idea. I think it's actually a stroke of genius to pick that character out and kind of do a passing of the torch, someone that has a connection to Raccoon City, and can be, unlike Ethan Winters, can be a character that I can get behind, definitely, and a lot of Resident Evil fans can get behind. And she has connections, not personally, but through her mother, to Raccoon City. It's going to be interesting how she really ties into the plot. I've got my own theories. I don't want to speak on them now, but I have my own theories, definitely. And I think Alyssa is going to play an important role in that. I think there's a reason why she was murdered. There's a lot going on. But I like the direction that he's moving in. I'm glad that he's kind of waving away Village and being like, nah, you know, that wasn't so good. I don't think he's a massive fan of it, and he's going down his own path. You know, unless he starts to kind of sprinkle some stuff from Village and the Metamycete, or I think it was Megamycete, and you know, the fact that the BSAA were using bioweapons, etc., etc. Like, if he starts to kind of sprinkle that into the plot and it's in there, it's not such a bad thing. But I doubt Nakanishi is going to do that. I think he's going on his own path. I think this is another reset, or it's a small reset. You know, it's like a light reboot. Well, not say reboot, but yeah, it's kind of like a light reset. So the fact that Grace is the main character, you know, and she's competent, because she's still an FBI agent, but she hasn't seen too much action in the field, out in the field, I think it's great. Like, she's book smart, she's intelligent, she's got all that information up there. But in terms of actually being a physical combatant and dealing with these things and dealing with outbreaks and bioweapons and monsters of various shapes and sizes, she's not proficient in that. And I think that's what's so cool about that character, is she will become proficient. She does have that training, but she hasn't used that training, and this is where we get to see her using that training, you know, and us as the player get to go with her on this journey. So yeah, everything is looking great. I did hear that there's a zombie nun in this, which I think is inspired. I fucking love that. Zombie nuns, like, we haven't had that in Resident Evil before. We've had a zombie priest in 28 Days Later, but we've never had a zombie nun in anything that I can think of. And I'm not talking about The Nun, because that's technically not a zombie, right? It's, not that I haven't really watched those films, but yeah, like, zombie nuns, I'm guessing would be inspired by The Conjuring or whatever, or The Nun, or, you know, any of those type of horror films, ones that I'm not too familiar with, but I like it. I think it's inspired, it's quite genius, and having kind of like this bioweapon like nun monster is super cool. If that is the Wrenwood Hotel, it was very grandiose looking, very pristine. I, like many others, was expecting you know, a hotel that we sort of saw like in Silent Hill 2, but obviously not like that, but Resident Evil's own interpretation of a hotel like that. It was just abandoned, and, you know, although this could be a different location entirely, this could be a hospital. To me, it looked more like a hospital, personally, and it looks like an Umbrella-owned, you know, facility, essentially. But I could be wrong. It could be the hotel. I'm not too sure. But then in the flashbacks and stuff where Alyssa was murdered and you had all the yellow tape, the do not cross like yellow tape, the place where she was murdered, that looked run down, and there's parts in this trailer and the other trailer that show kind of going through the hallway in first person, or at least it's zooming through in the trailer, and that looks more like a rundown hotel. So I don't know. I mean, it was very reminiscent of the Baker Mansion, you know, the Baker House, should I say, the Plantation Mansion in Resident Evil 7. So I don't know, but whatever this location is, it's gorgeous. Like, it's stunning to look at. I love the weapon she's got as well. It's a callback to the Matilda, which is Leon's gun. That's what it looked like to me anyway. And I think that the facial expressions, the animations, everything, the graphics are astounding. They're amazing. They look even better than Resident Evil 4 Remake, and that's saying a lot. And for all the shit I give Village, it was a good looking game. But yeah, it just looks like incredible. I love the lighting, like everything's draped in red, from where there's like the emergency light. I think that's very Resident Evil. I think that the foyer of that location, whatever it be, whether it be the hotel or it be the hospital, I'm leaning more towards the hospital, I've got to be honest, but I think that looks incredible. That's a callback to, to just like Resident Evil locations essentially, and yeah, that's what makes it Resident Evil, on top of a lot of other things. But when you go into this like facility or building and it's grandiose looking and a little bit, Victorian, or do you know what I mean? It's that stuff that screams Resident Evil. It's mixing that old school architecture, grandiose architecture, with, like sci-fi essentially. So, yeah, very, very cool. Very cool. Like I said, it was a short trailer. There's not a lot that I would say was new. There's a little bit here and there that was new, and then there's stuff that they reused, obviously, from the previous trailers. But I wanted to talk about it because I think everything looks cool. Like, I think it's cool. Obviously, there's been some playtesters that have spoken about what they experienced, and the demo kicks off with Grace kind of strapped to that gurney, and she manages to knock over this blood vial that's collecting her blood. So again, I think previously in the last video I said that there might be something to do with her blood. It's either a cure, or it can, whatever virus this is, it can make it more powerful. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but definitely her blood is the key. There we go. So they're extracting, or whoever it is extracting the blood, putting it into the vial, and she manages to knock that over. It shatters, and she picks it up, or somehow picks it up, I think they said. She's able to cut herself free and then use it as a weapon. And I think it was in that location there that they were talking about. Now, someone did actually say, maybe I'm getting the hospital from someone actually saying, yeah, it would be a hospital, right? She's got, yeah, so this location is a hospital. It's not the hotel. The hotel's a different location. So now we've got the hotel, we've got the hospital, and then we've got Raccoon City. So that's interesting. Is the hospital within Raccoon City or on the outskirts? Is it a place that we didn't get to visit? Like, who knows? So yeah, I believe that this place that's in the trailer, in this trailer, is the hospital. Because I think the hotel will only play a small role in the game. It's just where she's going to go. It's going to be like the training level. I think she's going to go explore, get clues on her mother's murder, find clues on her mother's murder, and then from there I think it will then go to like the hospital, and then maybe the hospital's close to Raccoon City, and then she goes into Raccoon City. So that's how I think things are going to work out. But yeah, in the demo that playtesters got to have a go on, they said there was this huge kind of like, I want to say zombie. Someone said something. It was more like, a lot of people thought it was Lisa Trevor, but I don't think it's Lisa Trevor now. I think it's just like a new monster, a new bioweapon. But it was huge apparently, and it sort of like comes down from the roof, from a vent, I think they said, and it picks up like a zombie or something. I think she stumbles across a zombie, and it picks him up and it just rips its head off, like rips the zombie, munches the zombie's head off. Now I thought that was quite cool because it's like bioweapon on bioweapon, like action, and we've only kind of ever saw that in like Resident Evil Damnation. I think it was Damnation, with the Lickers going against the Tyrants, and also in Welcome to Raccoon City where Lisa Trevor kills a Licker. So, that stuff's kind of cool. I mean, there's probably been previous games and CGI films and whatnot where bioweapons have fought each other, but yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So that's kind of the main things I took away from, from everything that's sort of come out over the last couple of weeks, and I think this is shaping up to be good. Like, I think it's going to be really good. I have faith in Nakanishi. I really do. You know, I'm a huge fan of Revelations 1. I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil 7. I think they're very good games, very good Resident Evil games. Honestly, like, you know, I think if anyone's to carry it on, I would like Nakanishi to do it, personally. So yeah, because I know that Hideki Kamiya, Kamiya is not really interested in Resi. I think he's more interested in Devil May Cry. There's been talks about a remake of Devil May Cry. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, I think that the person to carry this on is Nakanishi. He's got a good track record. I think he's done very well with Revelations, and I think he's done very well with Resident Evil 7. And I think he's redoing sort of what he did, where he rebooted Resident Evil with RE7. But I just think that the character's a lot better. I like the fact we can be in first or third person. I think the atmosphere is going to be off the chain. I really do. It's going to be off the charts. And I think this one actually might be pretty scary. The only scary bits in 7 that really scared me, I'm not talking about creeping me out, because there's a load of messed up stuff in that game, and there are parts that creep me out. But the only bit that really scared me was the basement, with the molded when they come out the walls and stuff. That was incredible. It reminded me of like the basement from RE1, and you know, and all those like moments from the old Resident Evils. Just classic Resident Evil moment, and moments in that basement. But yeah, I think that this is going to do good, and they wouldn't go back to Raccoon if they didn't know they could pull it off. That's one thing I will say, especially with Nakanishi being at the helm. I generally don't think that he would have undertook that if he knew that he couldn't, you know, make good on that promise. So I think we're in for a treat. I really do. I have faith in Requiem. As soon as I started to see sort of like the trailer for Requiem, I was sitting there and I was like, I already instantly like this. I just like the style of it and everything. When Village was coming out, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, but with Requiem, I instantly sort of like took to it. And at first, yeah, we couldn't really tell if it was Resident Evil because it was, you know, the FBI headquarters and things like that. And but I like that. That's the thing. I like that them sort of bringing that real world organisation into the lore. Even though I've heard people say it's been mentioned before, the FBI and stuff. So, you know, I remember when they said that one Umbrella base was in Resident Evil 2, the original. They said it was the Chicago Umbrella branch or something, if I'm getting that right. So yeah, like, I like when they do stuff like that, and they're bringing in the FBI into the lore and the canon. I think that's cool. So, you know, she's an FBI agent, so I think it's badass. I really like it. And then when the trailer sort of kicked off, and it just, the way the trailer was made was perfect. That's why I have faith in Nakanishi and his team, because it was a perfect trailer. It was brilliantly done. Like, you don't know what's going on. You sort of see glimpses of Alyssa, and you're like, oh, that's Alyssa Ashcroft. But for people who ain't familiar with Outbreak, or Outbreak File 2, they ain't going to know who the hell Alyssa is. So it's really for the diehards. And you see her, and you're like, okay, and then you kind of go, that's Alyssa's daughter. And then as it progresses, you're like, oh, this is interesting. This is definitely like a Resident Evil, you know. And then it just hits you, bang, like, with Raccoon City, and going back to Raccoon City, and I think it was handled brilliantly. So yeah, I have my fingers crossed. I have high hopes for this sequel. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be something special. I really hope it is. But we'll see in the coming months, or leading up to its release. I say months, but it might even be like less than that. It might be a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm excited for this, definitely. And I think to keep it hidden for as long as they did, and keep it under their hats for as long as they did, and the fact that all these leaks were complete bullshit and fake, yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that, because it's actually shocked people and surprised people, and that's another thing, I've actually been surprised, and, you know, and it was like, it was a shock, like, you know, where I've read all these leaks and be like, oh, I don't know about that, and that doesn't sound right, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh wow, like, they really did hide it, and then they just hit everybody with it. So I was so happy about that, because I can't stand all these like fake leaks anymore. I'm done with it. I covered a couple of leaks and things for previous Resident Evil games like Village and things like that. To be honest, I kind of knew I wasn't going to like Village, like even before it came out. So I didn't really mind covering the leaks. But the fact is that those leaks were actually spot on. So my leak videos aren't completely off the mark. They're actually quite spot on. Resident Evil 3 remake, RE4 remake, all those I kind of covered some of the leaks, but they were spot on. Like, you can go back and watch my videos and they are actually spot on. But with this, I had a feeling that it was bullshit, because there was a different leak every other week, and I was like, no, this can't be real. And I'm glad it was proven false. I really am. Maybe they were previous drafts, who knows, of the script, but they completely done away with that, went back to the drawing board and made something completely different. So either way, I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm very, very excited for this game. And I'm so glad it's coming out in February. I think that's brilliant. Another thing that was great as well is they just dropped the release date, and it was sooner than later, and we didn't know anything about it. It's very soon, so yeah, it was great. Like that was, I'd say overall of Summer Game Fest and the other event that took place, forgetting the name. What was it? The Summer Game Fest and the Sony one, State of Play. Over all of those two events, getting to see Requiem and getting to see a new Resident Evil and from the director of 7 and Revelations, that was worth sitting through both of those events, definitely. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Resident Evil Requiem. Are you excited for this game? So yeah, that's all really. It is a short one. There's not a lot to go on from the trailer, but I want to know what you guys think of Resident Evil Requiem. Are you excited for it? Are you trepidatious? Like, are you a bit tepid towards it? Like, what's everybody's kind of opinion on this sequel that's coming soon? Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, I've been System Check 66, and I'm out of here. Peace.